Okay, I think I remember everything now. It took me a while, sorry about that. So, this is the story of how I taught a skinwalker how to dance, and why I regret it. Something to note. At the time, I was dating a guy named Sam. I'll try not to use names, but it's important that his name be mentioned for reasons that'll be made clear later. Sam was on the football team, and they'd just had a fairly good run. The team's in the area, South Dakota mostly. I think there may have been someone from North Dakota, I don't know, it's been a while. Had pooled their resources and decided there should be a big inter-school campout at this little hostel campground thing in the woods, somewhere in the Black Hills. Why? Who knows? Something about gracious professionalism or something. The football players and cheerleaders were all given spots, but here and there, a few couldn't make it. So they gave their spots to other people. There was sort of a flock that hung around Sam and I, mostly nerdly types. And since A was dating one of the cheerleaders, the two of them convinced the girls that weren't going to give some spots to the rest of our little gang. Sam was for it because we figured we could go out into the woods and have some private time, away from his parents, his brother, and my parents. We all get into buses and drive out there. They'd reserved most of the space, so apart from a few old people and a family, it was mostly us. Lots of people though, because, well, 3 or 4 schools worth of footballers, cheerleaders, and hanger-ons. And some chaperone parents. It was kinda chilly, since we were headed towards November at this point. Anyway, with the cold, most people gathered around a few big bonfires, where they would set up a sound system and were playing pop and dance type music. I think the parents and old people were kind of pissed, but none of us cared. So it's still fairly light out. We left at around 9-ish or 10-ish. I want to say 10-ish. Oh, and there were 4 schools. A friend who was there actually finally got back to me on Facebook. So there's dancing and lunch and stuff, and it's in full swing. And Sam gives me this look from across the field. Fuck yeah, it's on. He slips off behind one of the cabins into the woods. I finish my hot dog and then do the same. 5-10 minutes of walking, and I see him sitting on a rock looking guilty but excited. We look to make sure that we weren't followed, then start running and climbing and scrabbling up the mountain. We had to have gone half a mile before we even looked back. We could barely see anything down there, the trees were thick, so we climbed a bit more. There was this rocky section that went up a bit over the tree line, and we could look down and see all the people partying. Could they see us? Maybe, but they probably couldn't tell who we were. We looked down a bit and then climbed a little further. The mountain was leveling out a bit here, with a valley off on the other side. I reckon we're far enough away from other people, so I grab Sam and pull him up against a tree. He looks kinda surprised and gets all wary. Dude, we're like a parsec away from everything, come on. He's skittish, says he feels like we're being watched. I tell him he's paranoid, and because I know he hates musicals, I start singing, in which I'm not going to sing. He kisses me to shut me up, and, well, things happen. This is going somewhere, I promise. Sorry, I'm wordy. After that, we sit up on the mountain, watching the party below. At this point, the sun started heading down, and it'll fall over the taller hills on the other side of the campground before too long. I lean against his chest, and I wish it would never end. We start heading back before people notice we're gone. We're about halfway down the mountain, still holding hands. Me wishing I hadn't left my boxers up the mountain, and hoping I did in fact pack some more. When he stops, suddenly, looking across the forest, there's something moving. It's hard to tell what, but it looks kind of big. It doesn't move like a human, it's too heavy for that. It moves off, and we take another route back. Figure it was a bear? Or a mountain lion? Maybe. Figure we should tell someone. Yeah, I'll tell the people in charge of the campsite. Ask if this is bear country. Jokes about bears and country puns happen. I walk back into the general area of the campsite, while Sam is off talking to the camp managers. It's dusky now, the sun kissing the hills across the way. People are dancing and drinking Coke, Sprite, Pepsi, all from plastic cups that definitely were not spiked with anything. No siree. Law-abiding citizens only here. So, I'm dancing, trying to get M to dance with J, which is this chick he likes. But he's being a pussy, and she'd probably have said no anyway because, well, M was an awkward fuck. So I'm walking through the field and I see this girl sitting all on her own. I don't recognize her. I figure she's from one of the other schools. She looks kinda sad. Kinda small. I walk up to her and I tell her, "Come on, there's a party happening. Sadness is for old people. Dance with me." She looks up, head tilted a bit to the right. Some dialogue happens here. I don't remember the exact words, but I'll put down the gist. I give her my cheesiest of cheesy grins, which I'll regret later, and I hold out a hand. "Come on," I say again. She looks at the hand, and then slowly reaches for it. I pull her up and into the general milieu. She sort of mutters, "I don't," and I tell her, "It's easy, just wave your arms and your ass like no one's watching." And I proceed to do just that. She gives me this awkward-looking smile, and I think to myself, that smile's probably why you're sitting alone. And then she sort of does the same. While I'm making it look good, or at least trying, she's sort of making it look awkward, but whatevs. She sort of does what I do. I shake my ass, she shakes hers, I bop my shoulders, she bops hers, etc. Eventually, I get bored of doing spastic dances, and I get in close. "Here, do you know how to do a foxtrot? Because I don't. I sort of don't. Sam tried to teach me a few times, but my feet fail. But I know the basic step." She lets me grab her hand and waist, and I put her hand on my shoulder, and we sort of foxtrot around the field. She does the awkward smile again, but she's sort of getting into it. I start to regret getting into this one, though, because she smells weird. Reason number 2 that she was sitting alone, I think. Not wanting to get all the way through the song and seeing Sam across the field, I shout, "Sam!" He comes over. "What did they say?" "It's not bear country, but they're gonna get some wildlife people to check into it." "Cool. It's cool that you saw what might have been a bear, but probably wasn't. Way off in the far, far distance earlier. That last bit was for the girl's benefit. She seemed like the type to freak out if there really were bears." "Who's your, friend, Anon?" "Oh, this is, actually, what is your name?" She looks at me, and then, giving that awkward grin again, says, "Sam!" Huh. Coincidence. Sam meets Sam. Sam meets Sam. "Sam, you teach Sam how to do a foxtrot. I'm gonna go have some more, Sprite." I wander off, my Sam glowering at me for leaving him with her. I shrug at him and give him a look that implies he should punish me later. He extracts himself after a song or two, and we hang out with the rest of the people that we know for a while. I don't see girl Sam for a while. I figure she's gone off with friends. Whatever. Night comes and we head into the cabins. The music is stopped and people are being herded towards the hostel and cabins. They were like little shitty drywall cabins, all connected by a longer hallway. There were about 6 of them, and we took up 4 or 5 of them. There's a lounge lobby area with a breakfast bar, pool tables, heads on the walls, and then lots of 4-person rooms off down the hallways. All by the chaperone types, who then go off to their cabin for some big meeting thingy. I found out later that they had gotten wind of the maybe a bear, and were deciding if they should do anything about it. Someone brought vidya, so we vidya a bit. I try to play cards, and I fail miserably at poker. "Hey, who's that out the window?" A few of us look out the window, and it's girl Sam. She's standing there on the path on her own. She's not wearing shoes, I notice. Her head's tilted to the side again, like a bird. I get to the window, and I see who it is. I wave. I'm trying to decide if I should let her in. I'm not sure if that would be breaking any rules, but I'm also kinda tired, and really don't want to babysit some chick. Also, that would put a crimp in the sneaking away to the rooms plan that I have. She is not the Sam that this includes, so I just wave. She stands there, and then raises her arms. She shakes and shudders like she's having a seizure, and a few people ask if she's okay. She has this weird, overly large grin on her face that looks more like a grimace. Way too many teeth. She stops for a second and says, in this weird raspy voice. Come on. She starts dancing again, and it was dancing. I recognize those hip movements. Sam gives me a look. He recognizes it too. I say, sorry, girls aren't allowed in here with us. Blatant lies. There were at least 2 there. She says something else, and I didn't really realize until I was reading this thread how not okay what she said next was. What are you afraid of? Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I shut the window and the drapes. I'm kind of freaked out. By the time the scream happened, she was gone. This happened about 10, maybe 15 minutes later. I'm back to Vidya, and wishing we were betting on this because, dear gods, do I clean up good in Melee when I'm using Young Link. Fuck you and your arm cannon, Samus. Suddenly, there's this noise. I didn't have a reference for it at the time, but if you've seen Game of Thrones, think of that shouting that Mama Stark was doing at the end of Red Wedding, but with more animalness in it. A little higher pitched, a little more guttural. There were 2 of them, one after the other. We all looked out our windows. I didn't really connect it to Girl Sam, and I suppose they might have not been related, but it did come from the same part of the woods that was facing the window from earlier. We were a bit rattled, and 1 or 2 people started talking about what it might have been. There was no real consensus, but I was sort of glad that A had brought a hunting knife with him in his backpack. Even though it broke roughly all of the rules ever, a few people went to the room so they could enjoy the locked doors quality, and those of us still up near the rather large, easily broken windows started swamping hunting stories, which turned into K-style trivia, which I started tuning out and watching the TV in the other room. I wished Sam would go with me to his room, but there wasn't really an inconspicuous way of slipping off. About half an hour later, we heard sirens. A bunch of us rushed out to see what was happening. The chaperones were holding us back, telling us not to get too close. A sheriff's car had pulled up, and had sat there flashing for about 10 minutes, while the sheriff talked to some park ranger-looking guys with hunting rifles. Couldn't hear much. Eventually, a park ranger guy went to talk to one of the coaches, who spread the word that we should all go back inside for the night. What's wrong, Mr. D? Nothing, Anon, just go inside. Once we were inside, Sam, 2 other guys we were rooming with, and I started heading towards our room. There were a lot of people swarming around, and then I see Girl Sam down the hallway. She seemed like she was limping a bit, but hadn't seen me yet. I got to my room before she did, and stayed there. When people asked me why I was jumpy, I explained that some weird stalker chick was out there. Sam puffed his chest back and leaned against the bed. Anon, love me. He sat on the bed and started being all touchy-feely, and I fought him off a little less hard than I would have if it were anyone else. Anon, love me forever. I've watched you for so long. We were laughing and someone called Sam a friend and got punched on the arm, and the mood was fine all night. We went to bed. I didn't see Girl Sam the next day, or Sunday when it was time to head back. I tried to look for her because I felt kinda bad for dodging her and being an ass to her out the window, but I didn't find her. I probably could have tried harder, but I'm not sure what made the park ranger guys go all wiggy. They were gone the next day, and the chaperones weren't telling us jack, and that's about it, I'm afraid. I'm sorry there's no big climax or no broken lights, shapeshifter hijinks. Maybe they got a meal of a park ranger in the woods, or maybe they weren't hunting, or maybe there was nothing going on at all. Maybe Smelly Sam went home with a bit of a crush and got over it by Christmas break, or maybe Skinwalker Sam went back home. Maybe she's still out in those woods on that mountain, singing phantom songs and hoping someone will dance with her. Shithole Spooks? Shithole Spooks. Intro. Be me. Wage Cook. Jakarta, Indonesia. Shithole. Lots of spooks around. Lots of ancient spooks around. Here's my first story. Be me, 2018, wage cuck. Took 2 days off from work. Bought a train ticket for a 7-hour ride. Train departs at night, so whole journey is darkness outside the train. Heard from train drivers that, at night, some spooks are seen around the train tracks. Expecting to see some local spooks and ghosts. Train departs, no happenings. Board at train, opens laptop, ship posting. A few hours later, heard a distinct female scream from the next train coach, thinking that someone just got brokenhearted. Train conductor and railway police on duty suddenly run towards the scream. Intrigued at PNG. Railway police present means something is happening. Probably passengers fighting each other. At this time, the loud female screams get louder, with train conductor and railway police shouting. That's it. I must see what's happening. JPEG. Running to the next train coach. Saw train conductor and railway police pinning down a female passenger. The female passenger is screaming and resisting the pinning down. At the same time, making gestures like ancient local traditional dancing. I asked fellow intrigued passenger nearby. Oh, she's possessed by a female ghost. Maybe from the old train tunnel that we just passed nearby. All of my what.jpg. This random passenger I talked to seems to already know everything that's happening. My face when the same random passenger assisting the train conductor doing exorcism. My face when the train indeed passes a 100-years-old tunnel. My face when heard stories about blood sacrifices during the tunnel constructions that involves dancers. My face when during the whole ordeal. More? Looks like more shithole spooks. Be me, be 2018. Wage cuck sucks ass. Decide to hang around more often in train stations. I like trains.mp4. Involved in some railway passenger community services. Usually hangs out in the central transit station in Jakarta. Eventually get to know personally with the station master. One night, he invited me to have some coffee and cigarettes in his room during a sleepy midnight shift. There's a security camera monitor set up in his working station. Decides to peek around the CCTV cameras. There's a camera overlooking and monitoring the station's underground tunnel beneath platforms for passengers to use. Nobody there. Empty. It's midnight already, so that's normal. In the meantime, I decide to light a cigarette, looking away from the CCTV monitor for a while. When I look at the monitor again, I saw a woman in a white dress standing still in the underground tunnel. Maybe she's just a weirdo. It's pretty normal to see weirdos at midnight trains. Try to focus on her. Suddenly, she's floating towards the tunnel's wall. Floating because no foot movements at all. She's literally floating and moving. She disappears into the tunnel's wall as if the tunnel swallows her. All in front of my eyes on the CCTV monitor. My face when there were no doors at all at the tunnel, except a janitor's storage room or some shit. My face when pick related. Shithole spooks again. This one's not me, but a friend of mine who works as a train driver. Be me. Be a new friend train driver. Just recently finished a training. Stationed in Bandung area. Bandung area was notorious for spook sightings at night. Train drivers on night shifts always saw ghosts and spooks when in Bandung area. First train driver assignment. Night local train schedule. Departs Bandung train station. Passing dark valleys and forests. No lights at all. Only locomotive fog lights. Suddenly, saw a woman in red dress floating above in front of the locomotive. When focused on the woman, suddenly saw a silhouette of a man on the train tracks. Want to hit the emergency brake, but at the last moment, saw the man is covered in blood and gore, hanging from the torso. It's a ghost, but holy fuck.mp4. It's a ghost, maybe, but at the exact moment the locomotive hit the deformed man, he clearly heard a thud. Still thinks it's a ghost, decides not to pull the emergency brake. Plays it cool, nothing happening. Train driver assistant suddenly asks him, "You saw and heard that too, right?" Shitting bricks at this point. Train driver assistant already familiar with these kinds of spooks. Your first assignment in this area, right? Don't worry. That was normal for a night train ride. The train driver assistant just said that it's fucking normal to see a woman floating in midair at night in the middle of a dark forest. A few hours later, arrived at the terminus station, sweating profusely. Station staffs ask what's happening. Tell the whole story. They laughed. Say, That's normal. Fell sick for 3 days afterwards. Received permits for a week from local train company rep. Local rep says it's normal for new friend train drivers to fall ill for a week after they see spooks for the first time. My face when train company already knows that spooks are part of their job. Pick related is my face when. Shithole spooks, again. There are urban legends in Indonesia, especially places with train tracks, that these are level crossing demons that inhabited all level crossings and preying on unsuspecting humans by making them quote-unquote deaf. This way, they never hear the speeding train coming towards them. We call them setan bodeg in our local language. I personally think I saw an occurrence of level crossing demon preying on human. Be me. Be Wagecook. Be 2019. It's been years since I've commuted using commuter trains, and I already know routes and shit. Near my train station, there's a small illegal level crossings, used by locals to cross the train tracks, now dismantled as my train station undergone renovations. The train tracks usually walled off to prevent bystanders wandering on the train tracks, but some locals always bore a hole big enough for them to cross. Be a normal morning, 7 a.m. Me waiting for my commuter train along with hundreds of other passengers on the station platform. You can see the illegal crossing from the station platform. Station announces that an intercity train will soon pass by. Bell chimes blaring. From the hole in the wall, near slum areas, a random guy appears. Seems like a construction worker on morning break, crossing the train tracks using the illegal level crossing, unaware of the speeding intercity train. Not even slowed down a bit when station chimes blaring, and not even notice other passengers already screaming at him to watch the speeding train. Then, the intercity train hits him like a force that no one has ever seen before. He literally smacked that hard, that part of his body just explodes and bounces like a ragdoll for approximately 50 meters. Other passengers that see the whole ordeal are horrified. Some are crying. Me, myself, just stood there in silence, unable to think anything. Soon there are railway police and station security shit, covering the mauled corpse with newspapers. Still can see the blood drips. Must be the level crossing demons. More shithole spooks. Be me. Be Indonesian. Be 2019. Legislative and presidential election season. Candidates are campaigning themselves, whoring to the general public. Presidential debates and campaign are stealing the spotlight. Almost no one talks about legislative election shit. Be walking home at 2300 p.m. after disembark at commuter train station. Suddenly, see a stroke of light in the sky. Kind of like a meteor, but dimmer. Ah, maybe it's a meteor. .mp3. Hear a loud thud. Looks like the meteor hit one of the houses on the rooftop. Minding my own business. Lit cigarette. Keep walking. When walking near the house that I heard the thud earlier, I heard shrieking and screaming from the house. For a moment, saw a middle-aged man lying on the floor while convulsing, surrounded by his panicking relatives. Neighbor running to the scene. Some are spooked, but some are being silent about it. Heard some of the neighbors talk about that man, that he has been hexed by black magic, sent by some shaman. Turns out that man is one of the candidates for legislative elections. One of his political opponents hired a shaman to put a curse on him. Shooting bricks at this point, but keep minding my own business, walking along the scene. Holy fuck, is this even real, .jpg? Never mind, another shithole spooks. Be me. Be Indonesian. Be remote working for months, already due to Corona-chan. Fuck yes, I can work while on vacation. Be 1 week ago. Book a train ticket to Yogyakarta for me and my girlfriend. Took a vacation for a week while remote working. Fast forward. Already arrived in Yogyakarta and doing shit with my girlfriend. Day 3 vacation. My girlfriend suggests that we should go to... Let's listen to me butcher this. We should go to the sacred Parangkusuma beach. Sure. Fuck yes. My girlfriend contacted her friend to accompany us to the beach. There were 4 of us. Me, my girlfriend's friend, Anne, and my girlfriend's boyfriend, Riz. My girlfriend's friend, Anne, had her left arm fractured. We're using Anne's car, 4 of us driving to the beach at noon. Arrived at beach at afternoon, hours before sunset. This particular beach is very sacred for Japanese beliefs. due to being the area of the sacred sea queen. Me, my girlfriend, and Riz, Anne's boyfriend, sitting around the beach and smoking and shit. Anne suddenly had the urge to walk to the beachhead, towards the waves. Mind you, the wave in this beach is always rough, normally about 3 to 4 meters, along with a strong wind. When Anne's standing near the shores, the waves in her proximity are suddenly calming down, while the wind's still strong. Holy shit, are you guys seeing this? Look at the waves. Me, can't see shit aside of the waves in Anne's proximity, almost non-existent, while at other parts, still looks like a mini tsunami. My girlfriend and Riz saw that too. The waves at Anne's proximity are almost non-existent. Me, do you think what I'm thinking? My girlfriend, yes, but we better not talk about it here. You know the reason. Riz, I agree. After approximately 1 hour, we saw Anne meditating at the shores, protected by calm waves. She returned to us near a parking lot, with her goddamn left fractured hand already recovered. What the fuck, that JPEG? She could only smile and put a huge grin, just like someone who won a lottery. Riz, you met her, didn't you? The queen. She only nodded. My face went. Wait, why couldn't you talk about it? We don't know the reason. You didn't say the reason why they couldn't talk about it.